άνθρωπος του Θεού. The Man of God. Man of God is a new film. Μια πολύ ενδιαφέρουσα ταινία που αναφέρεται στον βίο και την πολιτεία του Αγίου Νεκταρίου σε μια διεθνή παραγωγή και βεβαίως έχουμε την χαρά και την τιμή να έχουμε σήμερα μαζί μας την Yelena Popova. Yelena, καλημέρα.
Kalimera, Yelena Popovic. It's like a Greg Popovic. That's like a famous basketball coach.
Yelena Popovic και τον Alexandro Potter.
Hello, how are you? Hi, Demetris, how are you?
Thank you. Να πούμε δύο λόγια για την ταινία. Μαζί μας έχουμε και την συνεργάτη μας, τη δόκτωρα Despina Afentouli. Η Yelena Popova είναι... Despina, καλημέρα, καλώς όρισες.
Καλημέρα. Yelena and Alexander, welcome to CosmosFM and thank you for being with us today.
Να πούμε
Thank you for having us.
Ότι η Yelena και ο Αλέξανδρος βρίσκονταν στη Νέα Υόρκη πριν από λίγες μέρες για την προβολή της ταινίας, το preview, όπως λέμε, εδώ στην Αμερική. Μια ενδιαφέρουσα προβολή. Εκεί ήταν και η Despina Afentouli, εκεί ήταν και ο δικός μας, ο Άλεξ Αγισιλάου, ο οποίος βεβαίως, όσοι από εσάς τον ξέρετε, ξέρετε ότι ασχολείται με τηλεόραση, ασχολείται και με κινηματογράφο. Είναι περισσότερο της εικόνας, αλλά είναι και του ήχου και είναι χαρά μας που τον έχουμε και αυτόν. Βεβαίως η Yelena είναι η σεναριογράφος και η σκηνοθέτης της ταινίας και η παραγωγός. Παραγωγός είναι και ο Αλέξανδρος Πότερ. Να πούμε δύο λόγια για την ταινία, Despina.
So, as described on the official synopsis of the film, exiled unjustly, convicted without trial, slaughtered without cause. Man of God, which in Greek is o anthropos του Θεού, depicts the trials and tribulations of Saint Nectarius of Aegina as he bears the unjust hatred of his enemies while preaching the word of God.
Και βεβαίως ο Άρης Σερβετάλης είναι ο πρωταγωνιστής της ενδιαφέρουσας αυτής της ταινίας, η οποία θα προβληθεί στις 21 Μαρτίου και στις 28 σε 800 κινηματογραφικές αίθουσες εδώ στις Ηνωμένες Πολιτείες Αμερικής. I would like to welcome Yelena and Alexandro, who are now in Arizona, and this interview is being recorded via Zoom, and hopefully we're going to have it on Facebook in a few days.
Hello from Arizona.
Hello.
So tell us how you came up with this idea, Yelena.
The interesting thing is I never had an idea to make a film about Saint Nectarius or any other saint, for that matter. I love reading about saints. I'm part of the church. It's something that it's personal to me, and I for my soul, for my mind. But I never thought of making a film about a saint. Until I read a story about him in 2012, I just picked up a book when I was in Belgrade, thinking there would be probably a nice story. I heard about him. I heard he was a wonderful saint. I didn't know anything about him. I bought a book, and then when I read his story, I was like very much shaken inside out. Clearly, there were some parallels to his story, and somewhere on some level, my father's story, my story, because of the unjust prosecution that he endured, because my father was somebody who was unjustly prosecuted. As a matter of fact, he was one of the leading civil engineers in the country. At the time was Yugoslavia. and he had a position obviously in the company. They were building roads and what else they were doing, civil engineers do. And but he was beloved by people and not liked by his colleagues in the leading positions, because he wasn't willing to compromise and do unethical things. And so therefore they had to find a way to get rid of him. So the way they did it, they waited for, there was one day when it was extremely windy while he was working on the highway, and they knew that he was not going to compromise any workers or risk anybody's life. So they told him this has to be finished today, and in order for the job to be finished, somebody had to climb 30 meters high on the pole and basically put his life at risk. And he said, I'm not going to be responsible for anybody's life. So that was enough of a cause finally for them to bring him to court, to bring 6 false witnesses and to get rid of him from his position. All because he was just and unwilling to steal and cheat and abuse people below him. So therefore, that's a serious parallel, as you can imagine, to my the story of Saint Nectarios, the story of my father, who at the time had passed away. I haven't even seen him for 10 years before he passed away. I was in the United States. I was one of those immigrants that took me 18 years to get my papers straightened out and the citizenship. So I ended up not seeing him, but going to 1 year of his funeral memorial service. And that's where I bought a book about Saint Nectarios. And clearly, when I read the book and having my father in my mind so closely at that point, it resonated to such extent that I felt that I could personally put honesty in his story and bring it close to people's hearts and make it as real as possible. So people, regardless of their faith or ethnic background, they can identify with this man who was unjustly prosecuted, and how he endured this injustice, and how he chose this incredible love and forgiveness to find peace and to be victorious at the end, which is ultimately what I feel is relevant nowadays, especially in the times that we live in.
So it was a very personal thing. It was an urge that you had because of the unjust treatment of your late father, and the parallels in the life, works, and miracles of Saint Nectarios, the Bishop of Pentapolis, who posthumously was honored by the Orthodox Church as a saint, was canonized as a saint.
That's correct. He was canonized in 1961 as a saint, after thousands of miracles that he's already performed during his life and after his repose.
That's a very interesting story, what you told us. And after reading about Saint Nectarios, you decided to do your movie. It's your first film, right?
No, actually, it's a second film. I've done one film. It's called LA Superheroes. It was a totally different subject matter. It was a satire, drama, comedy satire on Los Angeles and life in LA. So it was definitely a lighter subject in some ways, but it was a good experience. I directed it, I wrote it, and I starred in that one. So that was I think that was a fantastic experience for me. So I think I was ready to then dwell into something a little more complicated and serious after that. And I'm grateful that I had a chance to do it. As you know, in independent filmmaking, most talented people don't get that chance. And I feel that Saint Nectarios had something to do with it.
Okay. So you had the opportunity to do this as a second film in your career as an independent producer. And Alexandra, how you came up, and tell us a few words about your experience as a producer of this film. Alexandros Potter.
Yes, Hi. So it's a good question. Some people may know, but I am married to Yelena, so we're a couple. So there are challenges there, but there are also benefits, I would say. So my background is film finance and film distribution, and so I've sort of lent a hand in putting the film together with Yelena, and so we've been working together on this from the beginning, really, and so it's been a journey. It's been an incredible journey, and I've gone to get to know Saint Nectarius, I would say, on a different level, just from the experience of going through the production and the pre-production and post-production, and then really the amazing sort of feedback and reactions from people that have seen the film and who have shared their feelings about it and their emotions and what this film really does and how it helps people. Because I think this was really the intention of Yelena. It was is for this film and this story and the saint to help people and touch people's hearts.
Despina,
Yeah.
you have the next question.
I would like to ask Yelena, according to a 2020 study by the Center for the Study of Women in Television and Film at San Diego State University, the percentages of women directing top grossing films increased, while the overall percentages of women working in key behind the scenes roles remain relatively stable. And I'd like to ask your experience, your personal experience as a woman director.
I must say that I felt so close to this story, and this meant so much to me that I personally, as a woman, and I can share this with other women, I don't feel inferior in any shape or form because I'm a female. Even if somebody has a problem, that's their problem. This is how I see things, and I was very empowered by the story, and ironically, this story also I feel empowers women, because Saint Nectarius built a monastery with women together, and there was some unjust prosecution also because of that, but he was an example of somebody who didn't discriminate between female or male or any kind of gender issue or skin color or ethnic background. He was somebody who was really spiritually very developed, and he felt comfortable around everybody. And I must say that a lot of women have participated in this film and made it happen. Like my distributor in Greece,
Irini
Souganidou, and all
from
the
Feel Good Entertainment.
Feel Good Entertainment, all the girls in the meeting. This was a very important meeting, is that they were the ones that believed in this. And I always said that for some reason, like almost like Saint Nectarius wanted a lot of women to be part of this project. And I felt really comfortable. There were a lot of women on the set, which also made me very comfortable. It would be awkward to be just surrounded only by men. And I felt really good. And everybody was really dedicated to this project from their heart. And it felt really good. I mean, my script supervisor was a female, obviously costume designer, and a lot of people, assistants of a DP. There were a lot of. It was very well balanced. It was very well balanced, and it felt extremely comfortable. And I felt really good. Everybody showed, I must say, a lot of respect and love for this project. So it was a good experience for me.
It was an international production. Of course, the filming was done in Greece, and it was completed in 2021. Kostas Lambropoulos, Igor Nola, and the two of you are the producers. The director.
I have to, Demetris. So I want to correct you on that. Just it's actually Maria Yachnaki myself and Yelena are the producers. Kostas Lambropoulos is an executive producer. Yes, it was produced in Greece, exactly. Yes.
And of course, the scenario, the writing and the direction belongs to Yelena. Photography Panagiotis Vasilakis, montage Labis Karalabidis. The beautiful music belongs to Zbigniew Preissner. And tell us, besides Aris Servetalis and Mickey Rourke, who are the other actors and actresses, mostly Greek in the cast, right? Most of them.
Yes, mostly. We decided to go for somewhat of a majority of the cast was Greek, because we and you know, if this wasn't I believe an international project, I probably would have just made it in Greek with all the Greek actors, right? But because I always felt that this film should go beyond Greece, and the story could be shared with everyone. It's a very universal story. We had some couple of international actors like Mickey Rourke, Alexander Petrov, but everybody else was Greek, and I had a, I mean, it was very important for me to choose the right actors for the right roles. I was very lucky to have an opportunity to work with such incredible talent of actors. I mean, if you look at all the actors that are in the movie, they're incredibly talented, and so I mean, I'm sure people in Greece, they know them quite well. Kyriakatiki Ekdosi, Christos Loulis, and many others. Yannis Stankoglu, and many others were part of this film, and we had really strong cast in Greece, and apart from that, I'm going to emphasize, I had a great time working with everybody. So that's for me was the best part of filmmaking on some level.
The film approaches the life and the tribulations of Senectarios, the Bishop of Pentapolis, and his unjust treatment by the church, and does not shy of the corruption that faces the Orthodox Church, and as all organized religion. So even though you're a faithful Orthodox Christian, you didn't shy of criticizing indirectly the church and recognizing corruption in its midst, Yelena.
Yes, I didn't shy in telling the truth. This film had to be told truthfully, and part of his story is that yes, he was unjustly treated by some of his colleagues within the church. What can I say? You know, in order to make a film to affect somebody, you have to be honest. My goal was to criticize, not particularly the church, to criticize the establishment. This film very much goes against the establishment in any kind of organization. It could be church, it could be politics, it could be education, it could be any sphere of existence. It criticizes those that abuse their power, that they're supposed to be there to help people and to lead people, but instead they hurt people. And this is who this film is criticizing. So it's not just criticizing the church. I just want to emphasize that the film is very much geared. One of the main premises of this film, and that's why it's made the way it was, is that the unhealthy desire for power and lust for power is basically the seed of corruption of our souls and our world nowadays. That very much plays in this movie. So yes, that was. But you know, as you can see, we also have grace in the church and God. So we don't have angels in the church. We know that. So we have to me, I'm somebody who has a lot of faith. I never I don't think people should so much focus on what people do. But yes, we always pray that in any organization, especially within the church, we have good people and people that can help people. That's like Saint Nectarius. He's a great example of that.
Okay. We have, tell us a few words about the distribution of the film here in the United States, Alexandra, and beyond, since it's an international production and it's going to play starting March the 21st.
Correct, yes. As you mentioned it earlier on at the beginning of the show, the film is releasing on March 21st and on March 28th. So it's basically playing 2 nights only at 7 p.m. in 175 cities, 46 states, 800 screens across the US. So it's very accessible. People can find a cinema near them. They can either Google, just type in Man of God, or they can go to fathomevents.com, type in and find Man of God, and then type in their city or zip code, and they'll find a cinema near them playing the film on those dates. Tickets are available right now on sale, and they're available to be purchased in advance. So I encourage everybody to get their tickets now and to enjoy this beautiful film.
And I'm going to ask Dr. Despina Afentouli for the last question.
Greece and Serbia traditionally share historical, cultural, and religious ties. And I know that you produced a film in Greece, and so I would like to ask you, how was your experience producing this film in Greece, and to what extent is it difficult to promote a religious theme through art at international level?
I'm sure Yelena will jump in as well, but I think there's definitely we've had a great experience. First of all, what I'll say is in Greece, there's a great program right now for the cash rebate, which means that if you spend $100, you get $40 back from Ekome, which is the audiovisual center in Greece. And they've done a fantastic job at putting that together in the last couple of years. And it's up and running and fully functional. And then in terms of production with the crews and the production service company, you know, everybody's been extremely professional and very talented. Actually, there's a great pool of talent in Greece, which I think is still not fully tapped into. I think on your last point about a religious film and how difficult that is, there were a lot of challenges, and you know, early on there were certain programs, I won't point them out here right now, but there were certain programs that, because even though the film had all, commercially speaking, we had all the boxes checked. We had the talent attached. We had the financing. We had all of the elements that certain programs required to help with the funding. Because it was a religious film, they could not sign off on it. So yeah.
And I would like to, if you don't mind, jump in here.
Yeah.
I kept saying, and it's true, I did not make a religious movie. I approached this film, and that was the trick. When I saw the story, I was very much attracted to the story because I felt, yes, it has a religious theme. He happened to be a man that I was making a film about. It happens to be Metropolitan of the church, but I did not try to make a religious movie. I did not want to make a propaganda of any sort. I was trying to make the film to really approach it on a very human level, and that's how a film is made, and that's why anybody can really watch it. So even though we were saying that, and they could see it in the script, because when Irini from Feel Good read the script, for example, and when we had the first meeting, she goes like, well, this is not a religious film. I said, well, yes, it's not a religious film. That's correct. She was able to, it is about a religious subject. I believe that spirituality will be present in case that we really focus on the truth and we are as honest as we can be. And then that's where the creativity and beauty comes out, is from the honesty and the truth. But yes, just to add a little bit, so people were slightly confused there. They just always like to think, oh, it's only religious film, and who's going to watch this? Only a few grandmothers with a few grandchildren. Well, they were wrong. It was a lot of young people, as you see what happened in Greece, they called it phenomenon, watch the movie. And not only that, this film has been accepted worldwide, even by people who know nothing about Orthodoxy, and being distributed, because again, the theme is very universal. It's a universal story, and the approach to this film was not religious. It was human. So I think that's and I think, by the way, that people were wrong. That was my opinion as a producer, and I always thought that for many years, and Alexandros can testify to this, that I said, more and more in this world that we live in, we're going to need films that you feel that you can get inspired by, and you feel, hopefully, if it's done well enough, you feel there is a healing process, films that give you hope. And I think those kind of films are needed right now. It's the right time for that. And I feel like there are going to be many more, not just my film. And I hope it'll be a good example and inspiration for others to bring those kind of stories to the surface, because I think they're needed. Because unfortunately nowadays, there are all sorts of genre out there. I know people like it, but unfortunately, horror stories and thrillers, we have them in real life right now. We watch them on the news every day. So we need now positive energy, we need hope, and we need healing.
And with that word, the word of hope and healing, we end this interview with Yelena Popovic, the director of Man of God, the movie, and Alexandros Potter, the executive director. I would like to thank both of them, as well as Dr. Despina Afentouli, the sociologist and journalist, and our co-worker here at CosmosFM. Ευχαριστώ πολύ. Καλή επιτυχία.
Ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ.
Ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ.
Ευχαριστούμε πολύ. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank
Yelena.
you.
Thank you,
We
Alexander.
wish you success. And as we said, the filming in about 800 screens around the United States. The screening is going to take place March the 21st and March the 28th. 21 και 28 Μαρτίου. Να είστε καλά. Καλή συνέχεια.